Let go of these 5 unhelpful mental habits, and you will discover that you're a far more emotionally balanced person that you ever imagined capable of experiencing all your emotions without getting overwhelmed by them. Hey my friends, and welcome back to my channel. And if you haven't been here before, my name's Amanda Jupiter Anderson, and today is Friday. And today I want to share with you 5 mental habits that you can drop to become a better you and to just feel better. It's a common belief that some people are just highly emotional by nature, while others have a more balanced temperament. Even though there may be some, genetic influences on how emotional we are. The much bigger influence is something most people don't even realize. My friends, it's our habits that determine how emotional we feel, especially our mental habits. Now, I've been researching the mental mind, specifically the habit mind, for years now, and it's been my experience that what leads us to all this emotional instability is the collection of subtle but powerful mental habits. Usually these habits were learned and reinforced long ago, early in our childhood, but we never unlearned them. But thankfully today, anyone can learn to become more emotionally stable. The key is to identify and eliminate these unhelpful mental habits that causes so much excess emotional suffering. So, let's get into it. 5 mental habits to drop and feel better today. Number 1, believing everything you think. Just because you have a thought doesn't make it true. For every interesting, creative, or even genius ideas our minds produce, remember it also generates hundreds, if not thousands, of silly, irrational, or just plain bizarre thoughts that have no meaning whatsoever. Okay, so here's an example. 3 plus 3 equals 7. If you read that, the thought 3 plus 3 equals 7 was in your head, but the simple fact that you thought it and it was in your head doesn't make it true, okay? But it's just not irrational thoughts that our mind produces. The mind is also capable of generating thoughts that are actually unhelpful or even downright evil, my friends. Thoughts can lead to concentration camps, chemical warfare, just as easily as Habitat for Humanity or the Peace Corps, okay? The point is this: your thoughts are not inherently true or helpful. And to assume they are is a recipe for emotional suffering. Because when you assume every thought your mind throws at you is true, you end up thinking more about that thought. If an irrational worry about your partner is dying in a car crash, on their way to work or on their way home from work, if that pops into your head, your habit of believing all your thoughts is going to lead to a whole lot of extra anxiety, okay? Or if some negative self-talk about a recent mistake you made pops into your mind, your habit of believing all your thoughts is going to lead to a lot of excess guilt and shame, okay? Overthinking is at the root of most forms of emotional suffering, okay? It truly is. So stop believing all that, your thoughts are all true, and you'll stop overthinking so much, okay? Number 2, judging yourself for how you feel. It doesn't make sense to judge yourself for things you can't control, especially our emotions. No legal system in the world that I'm aware of, is sending someone to prison for feeling angry. No matter how rageful a person felt, as a society, we only judge people for what they do, for their behavior, okay? And the reason for this is simple. It doesn't make sense to judge someone for something they can't control. And you can't directly control how you feel. You can't just turn down your sadness in a sense, okay? You're compassionate with your friends when they feel bad. But the moment you begin to suffer emotionally, you criticize yourself for it, okay? So one of the problems with judging yourself for how you feel is that it adds a second layer of painful emotion on top of the pain you already feel when, you put yourself down for feeling sad, okay? Now you feel sad and ashamed, okay? So when you worry about feeling angry, you start to feel anxious on top of feeling angry. Just like when you criticize yourself or feeling, let's say, afraid, now you feel frustrated and scared. Feeling bad is hard enough without making yourself feel bad or for feeling bad, okay? So if you want to break free of the habit of criticizing yourself for how you feel, learn to practice a little self-compassion, my friends. The famous words of Walt Whitman, who says, "Be curious, not judgmental." And I love that because it's so true. Be curious, not judgmental, okay? Number 3, needing to find meaning in everything, okay? It's human nature to dislike things that you're not certain about, okay? From which color shoes to buy to getting married, okay? There will almost always be some uncertainty in our decisions, okay? And along with it, some anxiety. But for some people, especially people who were raised in chaotic or extremely unpredictable environments, they've learned to view uncertainty as dangerous and to be avoided at all costs. I have to avoid it. And one common way to avoid the anxiety of uncertainty is to read meaning into everything, okay? By telling ourselves that everything means something, we give ourselves the illusion of certainty. And at some point, reality will then catch up to you, demanding that you face up, to the fundamental uncertainty of life. For example, maybe your spouse leaves you for no good reason. Or maybe, let's say you get laid off from your dream job for no good reason. Okay? Making up stories about how it all means something will eventually stop working when the uncertainty becomes big enough. And if you build the emotional strength to tolerate uncertainty, your moods and your emotions will suffer profoundly. Depression and severe anxiety are often the results, my friends. So when I finally stopped making up stories about how everything means something, eventually my entire emotional health changed for the better. And it's truly amazing, my friends. Emotionally stable people have the strength and willingness to accept uncertainty for what it is, to look an uncertain future in the face and accept it. It's okay to not have to figure out everything, and try and find a meaning in every little thing. It's okay to just go with the flow, my friends, like I always say. Be like water and stay fluid. This is something that I have been doing and practicing, and my friends, my life has never been better on an emotional level with myself. And it's just so amazing. So I wanted to share these 5 habits that I have dropped so that you can try them too if you ever, had a problem with this. It's just so amazing, you guys. So what I did was I started to practice, okay? I started to practice accepting uncertainty in small ways, okay? And when you do that, you'll be able to handle it confidently, okay, when it arrives in big ways, as it always does eventually. So, like William James says, the art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. Number 4, trying to control everything. Control issues are usually a sign of insecurity and a fear of helplessness. You know, just like the need to find meaning everywhere is a sign you're afraid of uncertainty, needing to control everything, is a sign you're afraid to feel helpless. The trouble is, you are helpless, at least in a lot of cases. So it's simply the nature of life that we can't control everything. We wish we could. Okay, so I'll give you an example. You can't control whether, your partner feels stressed out at the end of the day, or you can't control whether your boss thinks you're smart, or you can't control whether your best friend stops smoking weed so much every day, okay? So your power and influence in this example are limited. You can try to influence people, in the way you think is best, but it's a mistake to assume responsibility for the outcomes, okay? Because when your unconscious belief is that you should be able to control the outcome of everything, then you end up with unrealistically high expectations for yourself. And then eventually, these expectations get violated, leading to big emotional swings. For example, you walk in on your best friend smoking weed after she told you she quit, which leads to a surge of frustration and disappointment, okay? Or let's say your partner comes home from work stressed out again, despite the fact that you called them that day at lunch to check in, leading to anger and resentment, okay? Another example, let's say your boss gives you a bunch of negative feedback after a presentation you thought was great, leading to shame and self-doubt. My friends, remind yourself that it is okay to feel helpless. It's okay. Sometimes we just can't help it. Living in denial about that isn't going to help anyone in the long run. At least, yourself. Lowering your expectations to a realistic level doesn't mean you don't care, okay? It means that you're being honest with yourself and finally have the humility to accept that you can't control nearly as much as you'd like, okay? A rational person can find peace by cultivating indifference to things outside of their control. And last, but definitely not least, is number 5, making decisions based on emotions instead of values, okay? People who spend their time running away from painful feelings usually have no energy left for the things that matter most. Their highest aspirations. We all want to feel good, right? Right. But the decision to feel good now often comes at a heavy cost for how we feel later. For example, letting that sarcastic comment fly during an argument with your partner feels good in the moment, but in the long run, you're destroying trust in your relationship. Staying in bed because you're not motivated feels better now, but in the long run, you're killing your self-esteem because you're literally training your mind not to believe that you follow through on your commitments to yourself. Or asking your friend for reassurance when you're worried feels better now. But in the long run, you're teaching your brain that you're not capable, okay, of dealing with your own anxiety. And this road, your confidence, and it makes you more anxious in the long run, my friends. So, It's not that emotions and feelings are bad or always misleading, because sometimes they're quite useful, okay? However, it's a mistake to treat your feelings as gospel, because the reality is that our emotions are often in direct conflict with our values. If you want to feel more emotionally balanced, you must learn to subordinate your feelings to your values, okay? And the best way to do this that I have found is by constantly reminding yourself of those values, of those aspirations, thinking positive. For example, do I care about feeling right or having a good relationship with my spouse? Okay, which one? Or do I care about feeling cozy in bed? Or do I care about, my goal and being healthy and vital? Okay? Or do I care about feeling less anxious right now or become a confident person? Okay? These are all questions that I have asked myself, okay? And you can make decisions based on how you want to feel or your values, okay? So choose wisely, my friends. Just as Viktor Frankl quoted, okay? Between stimulus and response, there is a space, okay? In that space is our power to choose our response. Listen, my friends, every single person experiences painful emotions. Becoming a more emotionally stable person means that you improve your relationship with your emotions by cultivating healthy ways of responding to them, okay? So don't believe everything you think and resist judging yourself for how you feel. Let go of your need to find meaning in everything. Give up trying to control everything and try making decisions based on your values, not your feelings. So my friends, I hope this video is helpful for you, because these 5 habits that I have dropped in my life have been extremely helpful for me. And remember, my friends, overthinking is at the root of most forms of emotional suffering, okay? So try to stop believing that all your thoughts are true, and when you do, you'll start to stop overthinking so much. So if you found this video to be helpful, or if you know someone who could benefit from it, then make sure to share, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more helpful videos such as this one. Have a beautiful, blessed, and creative day, my friends. I'm sending you guys tons of sweet-ass energy today. And remember, keep breathing in all that sweet-ass energy, because it is literally everywhere. And I will speak with you guys again soon. I come to you through the power of the internet, and I leave you through the power of the internet. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Human resonance is off the chain, my friends. Woo! Do you guys feel this awesome, powerful energy, you guys? Today is the perfect day to go out into the sunlight, go out into nature, and breathe in all that sweet-ass energy. If you don't know what the human resonance is, it is literally the heartbeat, the vibration of the planet, you guys.